Make a habit of empathy, to recognize ourselves in each other.
Okay, my name is John Kinyon. I live here in the Bay Area, and my passion is for NVC mediation, nonviolent communication applied to mediation, conflict resolution context. Well, what it means to me actually are three things. The first being presence, being really present with people in a way that's not even about the words. It's just about really focusing my full attention on being with somebody, and then feeling that sense of kind of care and love for the human being as I do that. That is the first. And then the second that's become really important to me is it's about understanding, in the sense that just people feeling heard the way they want to be heard, so that they feel gotten. And thirdly, to be able to connect to what in the NVC world we call need language, connect to what people's universal needs are in what they're saying, and connecting their feelings to their needs and things like that. So those are the elements for me. Yeah, I have a really clear metaphor that's been with me for a long time, ever since or related to a book that I read, one of my favorite books by Hermann Hesse, called Siddhartha. And in that book, one of the characters, he listens, he's a ferryman, he's a boatman, and he spends a lot of time by this river that he loves deeply. And he just listens, and he listens to the river and all the different seasons, and when the water's rushing and when it's a trickle, or when it's moving more slowly. And he becomes enlightened. He achieves enlightenment by just listening deeply, more and more deeply, and then he starts listening to other people, or the people that he takes across in the boat. He listens to them in the same way. And so this metaphor of the river and the ferryman, and that quality of listening, and hearing, in the listening he hears everything, the whole universe is in his listening. In my body, I'd say there's a sense of real peace and relaxation, very deep peace, when I'm really present, I'm really with somebody, and a kind of joy of enjoying the life that's in this person, and both their individual and a unique experience and that universalness about us, and to just a kind of a sense of joy and aliveness, but a kind of quiet, soft aliveness in my body. Yeah. When I was in Pakistan right after 9/11, so it was early 2002, and a colleague and I, Ike Laster and I, made our way up to the Northwest Frontier Province, because we had decided we wanted to do some work with Afghan tribal elders that had come across the border and were in all those refugee camps along the border there. And we had gone we went to the colonel. We had a way to get a meeting with a retired colonel who oversaw all the camps. And we went to ask if we could go and do some NVC training and work with the elders there. And so we went and we asked him, and he looked at us like we were nuts. And he said, "I don't think you understand the complexity of these issues." And just, like we were kind of crazy and childish and naive and whatever, is what we kind of interpreted. And we started at first trying to explain to him, well, but this is NVC and this is, and he was just more and more skeptical. And we caught ourselves after a few minutes, and we shifted to just listening to him. Just saying, oh, okay, so you really want to make sure we do understand how deep and complex these issues are, and everything that you've experienced around how hard it's been to try to create peace and things in this area. And he said, yes, and he started talking about his own experience, and we just reflected back what we were hearing and connected to his feelings and his needs. And after 5 or 10 minutes, he sort of just sat back, and he had a kind of glint in his eye, sort of moisture in his eyes, and he was just saying, "God, I would really like to do anything that could help these people." And he said, "Tell me again what you want to do." And we said, "Yeah, we have this process that helps people connect at the heart and learn these skills around this universal language that helps create peace and resolve conflicts peacefully and compassionately." And he said, "Wow, okay." And he pulled out a piece of paper, and he just said, "So how long would you like to be there?" And it ended up being sort of rolling out the red carpet of giving us an introduction into the camp, and calling for elders to arrive, and security, and just laid it all out completely for us. And it all came, in my view, because we shifted to sincerely empathizing with him. We just let go of our agenda, and we just really connected to what was going on for him. One other experience we had when we did go into the camp, and we met with elders over the course of 3 days. For the first 2 days, we wanted to offer some NVC skills, and all they wanted to do is talk about their pain in relation to the U.S. and the Soviet Union and what had happened in their country politically, and the devastation and pain. And we ended up empathizing for 2 days through lots of translation, layers and layers of translation, all these different languages. But when we went through the translation, we could see it connecting with the people, that the elders as they were speaking, that when we guessed a feeling and a need, and you could just see there was this intensity and then relax, and a kind of softening of the face, and sometimes even a moistening of the eyes, as we really heard their pain about what had been happening in their country all these years. And it just showed me that how universal, even through probably terrible translation and all kinds of, that it was still, we were connecting human being to human being at this deep level, and meeting this need to be heard in the pain that they have, and probably had never been heard by people from the West in this kind of way before. So yeah, incredibly powerful, and how universal the need for empathy and the language that connects us at that level. On the third day, the first 2 days we just did empathy, really listening. And then on the third day, a conflict arose in the group. And up until the first 2 days, we were asking, are there any conflicts? And we can demonstrate this process. And they were probably through translation that they heard that, are you actually killing each other and things? But they kept saying, we don't have any conflicts. We have no conflicts. But on the third day, one of the elders asked us if we wanted to go to the mosque with them. They were incredibly gracious and hospitable to us, and that they started to really connect with us as we listened to them and heard them, and so one of them asked on the third morning if we would like to come to mosque, and almost immediately somebody else spoke up and said, no, that's not right, you can't do that, that's wrong. They are, they're not of the faith, they're not Islamic. And then pretty soon the room was, within seconds the room was polarized, and people sort of going back and forth, saying whether it was okay or not okay, or right or wrong. And I turned to my colleague Ike and I said, oh my God, this is perfect, this is great, we have our conflict. And he was looking kind of scared, religious conflict in a setting like that, but I was too excited about having a conflict to even think about the danger. And we ended up, I convinced them, could we work with this and show you the process, and they probably, again, building the trust over the first 2 days, they let us do it, and we worked with it the whole day. And got the needs on both sides, a representative from each side, whether they wanted us to be in the temple or the mosque or not, and heard the needs of wanting us to be there would be met, what would be met by that, the needs that they were scared wouldn't be met by having us there, and through lots of layers of translation, again, got those needs, got them to reflect those needs to each other. And I turned to the group and I said, so does anybody in this room not have all of these needs? All of them. And there was a stunned silence for a moment, and then they started nodding. Oh yeah, we all want, to connection and sharing our spirituality and hospitality. And we also want respect for the traditions and sense of safety and security for our religion. Those kind of things. And so does anybody not have all these? And they all said, yeah, we all do. And I said, how would it be if we all worked together as one group, collaboratively, to find a way to get all the needs met? And again, there was this kind of stunned silence. And then they started kind of nodding, oh, okay. And it didn't take that long before, by the time we got to that, it took the whole day to get to that point. But then a strategy emerged fairly within 20 minutes, half an hour. We came up with a way that met the needs of the people that wanted to invite us and have us be there, and to show respect for the traditions. And then once we had our agreement, the solution, I turned to the whole group and I said, so that's it. So we did it. And there again, this silence, pin drop. And then they started clapping and shouting and cheering, and there's this electric buzz in the room of having solved a conflict in this way that was peaceful and working together, and found a way that really met all the needs, not just a compromise and sacrifice, but really was a way that could get everybody feel satisfied that their needs got met through that solution.